Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Can you believe it? We made it to the last session. Went by really, really fast. Hope everybody's doing great. Kim, it's so good to see you. Lori, Adam, Valerie, so good to see you back today. I hope you've had some great days today. I hope everything went well for you. Maybe not as busy. I know the last time we joined, it was busy, busy, busy day for everybody. Is everybody doing okay?
Well, I gave a final exam today, so I have a lot of students emailing me right now.
Oh, oh, wow. Well, before we get further in, I'm gonna go ahead and read our contact hour. Dr. Sellers Educate is approved as a provider of nursing continuing professional development by North Carolina Nurses Association, an accredited approver by the American Nurses Credentialing Centers Commission on Accreditation. To receive contact hours, you are required to stay for the entire program or watch the full recordings and complete the evaluation. And there is an evaluation is on the portal. So once you log back in after tonight, you should be able to complete your evaluation. And so yeah, so that's where we are today. We got a fun night tonight. It's not as intense, I think, as our last sessions. We're going to probably finish up our last two quizzes, hopefully before our first break. And then we will have a nice little break and come back and do our test. So we will do a test on tonight. Let me see if I'll go ahead and share this. This is our agenda for tonight. We will take a practice test that's at the end of your book. I'll leave you some questions because you'll still want to be able to do some questions even after today's session. You want to keep taking as many questions, tests as you can. So you will still have some more in this book that you can finish up as well. So tonight we'll just do 25 of those questions and come back, take a break and come back and end our session up going over those 25 questions. Reminder of the program evaluation and then talk a little bit about next steps. So that's our agenda for tonight. Let's see. Chapter 22. This last section will be 12% of the CHSE exam. Chapters 22, operations and management of the environment, personnel, non-personnel resources. In the last chapter 23, accreditation of simulation laboratories and simulation standards. You do have those standards in your folder. I put them in your first folder, and I hope everybody's had the chance to at least go through those standards. If not, I still encourage you to go through those articles. Really, really go through them and understand how the standards are the foundation of our simulations and how we move that forward. The core four and all of the remaining standards are very important, and you'll see them threaded throughout your CHSE exam as well. So please make sure you understand each one of those standards. The articles are really, really good in helping you to do that. Okay. Let's see. So everybody, let's say hello. Hello, Charlene. I think Charlene's here. Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. We have a few more minutes. Kim, everything's going well with your
Yep,
daughter?
it is. Friday will be the decision when they induce her. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great, great,
So,
great.
but the fingers are crossed that um, everything goes well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We just wanted to check back in and make sure
Yeah.
I don't see a blanket, so
No,
we'll.
no. I should share with everyone, my daughter's expecting and it's a high risk, a lot of complication pregnancy. So I was hoping to get her to 32 weeks. She got the 32. We're at 36 weeks and but there's intrauterine, the cord is not attached correctly. So the baby our fetus is not getting the nutrients, but is extremely active. So that's why they're leaving this little one in utero yet. Because it's extremely active. So they're expecting it to be, well, it's 4 pounds, 10 ounces right now, so pretty tiny, but it's okay. It's okay. Plus, both my daughter and I were diagnosed with clotting disorders this winter, so we add that complication onto her now. So, yeah, gotta love genetics.
Well, we
I'm
just
thinking
glad.
this is a perfect simulation for OB.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It will be. It will be.
Yes, it will be. Yep.
Yes. Well, it's good to have you with us. Lori, you doing well? You doing good? I think you were on roller skates last week when we came into the session. I think you had just you were just able to sit down, if I recall.
That's correct. Yeah, today hasn't been quite as bad. I've at least had the last 2 hours to sit.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. Uh, Adam, you doing well over there on your end? Any Oskies lately?
Yeah, I've been off of sim for 3 weeks. There was lobby day a couple weeks ago. Last week was spring break, and then this week is my only week I've not effort. So I've had 3 weeks off from sim. I had a lecture today.
Okay.
And I have to lecture next week for just regular classes, but
Okay.
um, just plugging along.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Valerie, how's it going over there with you? You had spring break, but now you're back in the run of everything.
Yes, we've had a long day of sim today. I literally just got back in my office, sat
Okay.
down. I jumped into the class, ran to the restroom. And so if you spoke to me earlier, I was just getting in and but yeah, long day, just long enough, had a break long enough to eat and log in, use the restroom, and here I am. But it's okay. It's
It
okay.
is. You still have that smile on your face. That's always nice to see. Yes, yes, yes. Erica, how are you doing, young lady?
Oh, just okay. Everyone in my house is sick, so you know,
Erica,
I
oh
have
my
two young
goodness.
kids, so it's just part of the course here.
Right, right. How old are your children?
5 and 3.
5 and 3. Wow, wow, wow. And
Yeah.
they share alike. Everybody share. We just want
Yeah.
everybody love and share, love and share.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow. Wow. Well, we're glad to see your smiling face today as well. You
good to
hanging.
see you all.
Yes, 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 yes. And let's see. Miss Isaac, how are you doing today? I think
Hey everybody, I'm doing well. Just got out from clinical.
good. Good. We missed you last week. Glad you were able to join us
Yes,
back today.
yes,
You
I'm
were
so happy
busy,
to be here.
busy. Yes,
Yes,
so good to see you. Everything going well with you down there in Florida?
yes, we got some cold weather recently. I know for other parts, I say it's 30 degrees. It doesn't mean much, but in Florida, that might as well be a
Oh,
winter
yeah,
wonder storm.
it's a big deal.
So, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we're glad to see you today and glad you were able to join us. Miss Charlene, are you there? I thought I saw her log on. Okay. All right. Well, glad we were able to do just a small pause. Tonight is going to be a little bit more relaxed. It won't be as, I think, as intense as our last sessions. We just have 2 chapters left, and then we're going to take a nice little break, and then you'll have enough time to take your test while we're online together. You'll do 25 questions. And then once you're finished that, we'll take another break and come back and actually go back over those questions. So tonight will be just a little bit more relaxed than our previous sessions, but I hopefully hope that it will still be beneficial to you as well. Again, I want to let you know, even though tonight is our last night together as a group, you still have access to my email. You will have access also to the resources. And please don't hesitate to email me, okay? I will still be here for you. You have some questions that may come up, clarification questions, or Dr. Scott, I just need to just talk. I just need some clarification. I need some examples. I need this, I need that. I'm here with you, okay? And I'll be with you until you go and pass that exam, okay? So I just want to let you know that I'm not just dropping you off tonight. that I'll still be here for you, okay? And I love to hear from you as well. So please email me from time to time. I will do some follow-up emails as well. Just give me a little response. Hey, Dr. Scott, all is well, thumbs up, or, just want to let you know that I'm here for you, okay? Yes, ma'am. Miss Isaac.
Yes, I
Thank
had a
you.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the recorded lectures, how long are they available on the Dr. Sellers, like under our login? How long are the recorded lectures available?
From my understanding, they're always available for you. You should have access to them. If you run into trouble where you can't, just email me, okay? But I think you'll have unlimited access to it.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And just email me if you run into any problems, okay? Charlene, you made it. There she is. How are you? I checked in on everybody. We just wanted to check in to see how you're doing. Are you traveling? Are you at home? Or are you in a hotel? She's muted.
See, I'm home for now.
Okay, okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, glad to see you tonight. Glad you were able to join us, okay? All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Looking at our definitions, we have 10 definitions on tonight. Let's see here. Okay. Gonna go right quick through our definitions, starting in with guided reflection. Guided reflection being a mentor facilitated process that allows the learners to integrate the understanding gained into one's experience in order to enable better choices or actions in the future, as well as enhance one's overall effectiveness. And we do a lot of that when we're doing debriefing. Guided reflection, reflective thinking, challenging our students, asking those Socratic questions to pull all the knowledge out that we can to help them connect the dots, moving them towards changing behavior to promote safety, safe patient care outcomes. Haptic is our next definition. In healthcare simulation, haptic refers to devices that provide tactile feedback to the user. Haptics can be used to simulate touching, palpating an organ or body part, and the cutting, tearing, or traction on a tissue. Haptics are here defined as the combination of tactile perception through sensory skin receptors and kinesthetic perception through muscle, tendons, and joint sensory receptors. We talked a little bit about haptic when we were looking at VR a few sessions ago. Haptic simulation combines both virtual reality and force feedback and represents a new reproducible tool to provide a safe learning environment. Haptic. High fidelity is our next word. Patient simulations with full body mannequin, advanced technology mimicking human anatomy and physiological signs. Mannequins that provide physiological feedback via interactive software response to the trainee's actions. High fidelity, high stakes. Looking at our OSCEs. Let's see, that was one. We're going to do a hybrid simulation. In healthcare simulation, hybrid simulations most commonly apply to situations where there is a part-task trainer. Urinary catheter model or IV arm is realistically affixed to a standardized patient or simulated patient, allowing for the teaching and assessment of technical and communication skills in an integrated fashion. The use of two or more simulation modalities in the same simulation activity. Let's see, in situ sims, simulations defined as simulation activities that take place in a patient care unit and involves team members in their own work environment, taking place in an actual patient care setting, environment in an effort to achieve a high level of fidelity and realism. This training is particularly suitable for difficult work environments due to space constraints or noise, ambulance, small aircraft, dentist chair, catheterization lab. This training is valuable to assess, troubleshoot, or develop new systems. I don't remember if we had anybody working in the hospital in our group this time. Just-in-time simulations. Just-in-time. Methods of simulation-based training that is conducted directly before the learners need to perform the intervention. Appropriate clinical information is given at the right time and place. A learning approach that meets the learner needs during or just before it is needed to maximize an educational outcome. A lot of our residents, they have a whole lot of just-in-time simulation activities. Low fidelity, not needing to be controlled or programmed externally for the learner to participate. Examples include case studies, role playing, task trainers used to support students or professionals in learning a clinical situation or practice. Low fidelity, informed by learning objectives designed for a specific task and training stage. So depending on your objectives, you will decide on what type of fidelity you will need for the simulation experience. And I think that is, and I have one more, mixed reality, a category that encompasses the hybrid combination of virtual environments and reality to create a new environment. We talked about that too a few sessions ago. And I think that's it for tonight with our definitions. Let me check one more time. Oh, I do have one more. Physiological modeling. Ms. Isaac, do you have your hand up? I don't remember if we put your hand down.
Yeah, this is a different time. I have a
Oh,
question.
okay. Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not understanding OSCEs. I know it's a tool, a strategy to evaluate students' clinical skill performance. Can you give me like an example of what that would be?
Okay, say you have a nurse practitioner program
Mm-hmm.
and they are learning how to do health assessments. Okay, so they will have their standardized patients there, all skilled and ready to perform a patient. Maybe it's an OBGYN a patient encounter. So they will have time to go ahead and practice for this simulated experience or this evaluation. So the nurse practitioners will have all those practice labs before, and then they will have a tool that the trainer or the facilitator has to train on. All OSCEs, you know, in this example, have to be trained to do this tool so that everybody all of the evaluators that do this tool, completing this tool the same way to get the same evaluation outcomes. It has to be a tool that has been constructed and tried. It has to be valid and reliable. So on the day of your day for your OSCEs, and several schools do it differently, some already have their evaluation time set, and the practitioners can go into a room and actually at their time. There is no feedback provided during this time, and they're actually going in and to perform that patient encounter, that OBGYN visit with that simulated patient. And it doesn't have to be an OBGYN scenario, but it can be any other type skill set that they're going to need to be proficient. And it's a pass fail. You know, once that test is done, they will provide them the feedback. So OSCEs are let me see, I'll bring the definition up for you too, that may help. Objective structured clinical examination. Let's see, a station or a series of stations designed to assess performance competencies in individual clinicals. or professional skills. Again, they have the checklist or they have the evaluation tool. One thing that separates an OSCE from a simulation experience to where you're bringing your students into the sim lab, you're giving them each a role, and they're in there performing that simulation experience. If it's from a formative standpoint, you're able to stop those students and provide feedback. And once you provide that feedback, those students are able to adjust and change their behavior. Or you provide the feedback during debriefing so that those students can go back in and change the behavior. With your OSCEs, they are more structured, that you shouldn't be providing, hopefully, that information. But if it is a formative one, you will be able to. But most of the ones that I'm most familiar with, they are to the.
Summative?
I'm sorry.
Are most of them summative?
Yes, most of
Okay.
them are summative. Yes, most of them are summative. I don't know if Adam would like to share some of his, and Lori, I think, do you do OSCEs in your sim lab, Lori?
I don't personally, but my anesthesia personnel, when they do their fellows and residents here, they do that.
And
Yeah,
Adam,
so
CRNA.
what we do is we start them, so when they're first in sim, they're like third semester, but they've never been in an OR. They don't know, they don't have any skills whatsoever. So the first 7 weeks, we call it a boot camp, and we're teaching them basic patient assessment related to anesthesia, basic airway skills, all the basics of like an induction. And because it's a high stakes OSCE, it's pass fail. They have to pass it in order to get into clinical. They have the rubric, like they know what the grading criteria are. It's all laid out. They have to do it. We practice it in little baby bits for 7 weeks, and then towards the end, like weeks 5 and 6, they're just they're going through the whole thing, all the steps, and we're providing more of a formative feedback then. But then when they come in, they have 15 minutes. And we have 4 different parts of our OSCE day. It's a whole day. It's an hour for them, but it's a really long day for us. They do a basic induction, putting someone to sleep. They do a patient assessment, like preoperatively. They do some medication calculations, which isn't really the typical part of an OSCE. And then what's the 4th one? I'm having a brain fart. Yeah, we have 4 part. Oh, they do a machine check. So they have to perform a check on an anesthesia machine. Again, that's a standardized thing. This is the order you do it. You do it the same way every single time from day 1 until day whatever I'm on. I don't even know what day I'm on anymore. But it's the same. But they have the rubric because it's high stakes, it's summative, all those things. But that's what we do.
And are they always pass fail?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
they actually have to pass it in order to go into clinical the following week, to start clinical. If they don't pass it, then they have to remediate the following week. And knock on wood, we've not ever had anybody not pass the second week.
Okay. Thank you guys all for the clarification.
Mm-hmm. As he said, high stakes is high stake, high pressure. High stake, high pressure, I'm sure, just knowing that you have to go in there and perform accordingly. And there's a lot of practice that goes into that as well to ensure
Lots of
success.
tears.
Yes, lots of tears, sweating, and nerves, because it's almost like you're going in under the gun, under the pressure. All lights are on you, and you have to go in and perform and show that you are proficient in whatever skill that you're having to do. So, yeah. Yes. Is that helpful, Miss Isaac?
It's kind of like the EMT psychomotor exam. Yeah, they have to be able to pass the all of these particular skills. And there's a checklist that's given to the examiner to make sure that they hit all those critical points. And if they don't pass, then they don't pass the course, then they're not able to sit for the National Registry for licensure and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's high stakes. And it too is pass or fail.
You just can't pull, you couldn't pull, me and you just couldn't go sit in there and do it if we hadn't been trained on the tool, the evaluation tool. It has to be evaluators that are trained on that tool, right? Yes, and the tool is just not one you would make up on the fly either. It's a tool that is valid and reliable. Higher stakes. Okay, great, great, great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Charlene, for your input as well. All right. So y'all, we're ready to hit our last two chapters. Whoop, whoop. Chapter 20, 22 and 23. Let's see, we're right at 624. Okay, I think we'll be okay. All right, so let's go ahead on page 395, and we will continue to put our answers in the chat box. Okay, and go over our rationales. Number one, when managing supplies and equipment, it is critical to A, use the same equipment and supplies as utilized in your local hospitals and clinics. B, track equipment repairs and warranty and service agreement information. C, set up a cooperative with local simulation centers so you can share equipment and supplies. D, order capital equipment at the end of the budget cycle. Correct. The answer is B. The answer is B. Tracking equipment, repairs and warranties, and service agreement information. You sure don't want to order capital equipment at the end of the budget cycle. Setting up a system for tracking equipment, repairs, and service information is critical to understanding and managing operational costs. Using the same equipment and supplies as those utilized in local hospitals and clinics is good for the learner, as this might help with familiarity, but it is not of critical importance. Setting up a cooperative with some other simulation centers may be helpful, but not essential to running a simulation center. Capital equipment is very costly and is usually best ordered at the beginning of the budget cycle when there is most amount of money available. How do we run our STEM centers? 2, a mission statement is a statement of global plans and goals. B, the roadmap of a simulation center. C, the purpose for the existence of the center. D, a comprehensive 3 to 5 year plan. Yes, 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 yes. And that's very important that we understand the mission of our facilities, right? It drives our STEMs and support as well. So C is your correct answer. The mission statement is the purpose for the existence of that center. Describes the purpose of the center. A statement of global plans and goals is a vision statement. The roadmap is known as a business plan, and a comprehensive 3 to 5 year plan is your strategic plan. Recommending policies and procedures for a simulation center include A, mission, vision, and value statements. B, collection of prepackaged scenarios with debrief guide and checklist. C, video retention, archiving, and access guidelines. D, income and expense reports and marketing plans. Correct. How are you storing your videos? Do we have video cassettes? Those video cassettes, how long do we keep them? What are we going to use them for? Where are they stored? How to retain and store materials that are vital to the history and or functioning of the SIM Center should be guided by policy and procedure. A collection of prepackaged scenarios with debrief guide and checklists are considered teaching resources, not policies and procedures. Mission, vision, and value statements are usually part of the business plan. There may be policies and procedures regarding the format, content, and frequency of income and expense reports and marketing plans, but the actual reports are all outside of the policies and procedures. Policies and procedures. How and what? How do we conduct? What do we do this? What is the policy for policies for each one of our standards? What is your policy in relation to evaluations? Debriefing, skills. Depreciation is number 4. Depreciation is A, the part of a budget that refers to capital equipment. B, the sudden loss in value of a piece of equipment. C, the calculated loss of value based on the projected lifetime. And D, used to represent supply, inventory, and losses. Correct. C. Wait a minute. Depreciation. Am I looking at it right? The depreciation of something. When something depreciated has what? Lost value, right?
But it's calculated, like when you do your taxes and you buy something, it depreciates over such a percentage over so many years. It's not a sudden loss of value.
Well, I guess when you think about, sometimes when things leave the factory, once they get to you, they've already lost value, right?
Well, yeah, when you buy a car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's already
Right.
depreciated in value.
Right. And I guess that's the argument with the answer, You're right, you do calculate it over a period of time, but when you think about something, once it leaves the factory, it's really not the same value it would have as if though it was still in that factory. So this answer here could be argued, I'm sure. But yeah, the depreciation is used in accounting to help describe the impact of wear and tear and loss of value of an asset. Such as the piece of equipment over time. Capital equipment is usually set up on a depreciation scale where the initial purchase price and expected lifetime of the assets are used to decrease in value of the equipment over time. Your capital equipment is commonly depreciated and is commonly on a line item in the budget, However, depreciation is not a part of the budget that refers to the capital equipment. Depreciation refers to a planned and calculated loss of value, not a sudden loss. Depreciation is used for durable equipment, not consumable supplies and inventory losses. Depreciation of our equipment over time. I was looking at that one a little different. Depreciation, the calculated loss of value based on the projected lifetime. We do that on a lot of our high value, high tagged equipment, and even looking at some of our how high fidelity simulators and some of the other things that we have, our recording systems, those things that are very, very high ticket price tagged, high tag priced equipment, et cetera. So correct. C is your correct answer. Number 5, purchasing an extended warranty on high fidelity HPSs is an example of what? A, risk transference, B, risk acceptance, risk mitigation, or a positive risk. Yes, transfer that over to, get that warranty to help us out. Exactly. The risk of the high cost of repairing and replacing the HPS is transferred to the company that offers an extended warranty. Our favorite things to do inside of our centers. Offer the extended warranty on the HPS. Risk acceptance mean that we would be accepting the risk and risk acceptance would be accepting the risk and not doing any intervention. Not purchasing an extended warranty and accepting the HPS as the company offers it. An example of mitigating risk might include doing extensive testing on the HPS to identify any weaknesses and to try and detect any issues in the HPS prior to expiration of the initial warranty. A positive risk might be an influx of new clients because the center has purchased a new HPS. Number 6, the stakeholder asked the simulation educator how to make the simulation real. What should the simulation educator tell them is the most important to increase in realism and learner engagement in a simulation? This one can be a little tricky. Okay. Cool. Yes. As if the learners are not, what? If we don't have no buy-in from the learners, we're not going anywhere. I don't care if you had a standardized patient that could just do the most wonderful things, right? But if we don't have learner buy-in, learner willingness to engage in the learning process, it won't work, right? Confederate smells, sounds, images, and high fidelity simulators are all very beneficial, but unless the learner is willing to suspend disbelief, these other environmental enhancements will be of limited benefit. Number 7. Well, this is the one that I was thinking about one. This is the one that I think it is scored incorrect in the book. But we'll see. It is. It's scored incorrectly. Number 7, when setting up the room for a scenario, the simulation educator notices a piece of equipment is not working correctly. Select the item with the best sequence for troubleshooting and correcting this problem. A, call the sales representative or manufacturer helpline. Ensure the device is plugged in, charged, refer to the owner's manual for troubleshooting, shut down the device, and then start it back up again. B, refer to the owner's manual for troubleshooting, then check to see whether the device is plugged in, charged, ensure all cable connections are secure, shut down the device and start it back up again, and call the sales representative or manufacturer helpline. C is the correct answer, but they have it scored. It's wrong in your answer key. It is C. You want to check your connections first. Best initial steps is to check all cords, electrical plugs to ensure the connections are secure. Many problems can be corrected by doing this step first. Next, shut down, and then restart the human patient simulator. Consult the troubleshooting section of your user's manual. Last, call your sales representative or manufacturer. These steps are recommended in this sequence from most probable and easiest and quickest to fix the most time-consuming and most resource intensive. Some centers find it helpful to put a short troubleshooting checklist on or near the piece of equipment or device so that it can be readily referred to in times of need. 8, during a simulation, it is noted that some of the requested supplies and equipment are not in the room and available for the learner's use as expected. What is the best? What is the best initial step, Adam, I was reading you to take toward addressing this issue? A, stop the simulation and ask the simulation tech specialist why the supplies are not available. Restart the simulation once the proper supplies have been attained. B, continue the simulation with STS introducing the supplies and equipment into the scenario, stating these supplies have just arrived from Central Supply for this patient. C, continue the simulation, observing how the learners adapt to the lack of supplies and equipment. Or D, stop the sim and begin the debrief, explaining to the participants that this is a common occurrence and that they are the unfortunate victims of a poorly managed simulation center, a poorly managed center. B is your correct. It is the best. The best. Use that unexpected events as a nice opportunity to bring those learning objectives around. Because it happens like that in practice, right? Using an outside lifesaver, inside lifesaver, outside lifesaver. Using an inside lifesaver, such as the STS introducing supplies into the scenario is somewhat realistic manner can help the scenario progress and stay on target with the scenario objectives. So good. Keep your focus on the learners and the scenario objectives. Stopping the simulation and asking the STS why the supplies are not available, and then restarting the simulation would not be a good idea. Once the proper supplies have been obtained, it can break the suspension of reality that has already been established and change the focus of the simulation. Maintain realism during a simulation for best learner outcome. as much as you can. That's one of your goals and your focus, is to maintain the realism that you have set forth and established. Stick to the scenario objectives. Complete the simulation event first and then go back and resolve the issue related to why the supplies were not there. The response to continue the simulation observing how the learners adapt to the lack of supplies and equipment is not correct, because this would change the scenario objectives, and it is best to do what? Stick with your learner objectives, scenario objectives. What is the outcome? Lastly, it is never appropriate to stop the simulation and begin to debrief by explaining to the participant that this is a common occurrence and that they are unfortunate victims of a poorly managed center. This would be a poor response, as marginalizing other team members is what? Inappropriate. Issues of this nature should be dealt with privately and not in front of the learners. Stick to your learner objectives. If that happens, because things do happen in our simulations that we don't plan, use that as an opportunity to connect it to the reality of what would happen in practice, as long as we're still able to move those students towards meeting the learning objectives of the sim. Number 9, during a simulation, the Wi-Fi connection to the baby HPS is lost and the baby becomes unresponsive. The learners believe that the baby has gone into cardiac arrest and begin CPR. As a facilitator, again, what is the best initial course of action? Exactly. Yes, Adam.
Yeah. So question about this, only because of what it did. Like it stopped, the Wi-Fi stopped, so they became unresponsive. So does this not interfere with like the student thinking they killed the kid? You know, because we also have to protect the psychological safety of the scenario. So like I get the answers B and I read the rationale, but like, is it just because they're saying you can still meet the learning outcomes?
If
It's
that
all because of that those learning outcomes can still be met is the only reason we're still going.
and that's your key there, if the learning outcomes can still be met, but if they can't, you would go ahead and stop and let them know that we have lost connection, right? And I've had it happen before where I lost connection and I would keep on going, actually doing it on more manual type, if I'm making sense, right?
Yeah,
So the
no,
goal
we've had that issue too with connectivity with our Ingmar and our CO2 for our Laerdal mannequin, and yeah, we just do the same thing. We adapt on the fly, but it's also not a cardiac arrest. If this was any other scenario, I have no problems with it. But the
I
fact
see.
that you kill the baby and we preach psychological safety and have
Yep.
and beat it over our heads, I don't like this
Yep.
question.
This
I'm
would
gonna add
not.
it to my
This
list.
would be one of the ones that we would have thrown out, like we was talking about 3 or 4 times ago, where we would write the editor. This one right here,
Yeah,
because you can
I'm gonna
argue
add that
the
to my list.
same about psychological safety, because by this time your students are probably in tears, and you too, when you think about that was not the goal, and
Well,
that's
and
one thing we have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's confusing as you're prepping for an exam. Am I going to read into something on the CHSE? If I get put in a situation like this, just because it's a shit question. It's not even about the question. It's about like the learning that happens from the question. But you agree with me, like all of the things I'm saying are like my thinking is correct. It's all because they say the objectives can be met. Otherwise, the answer, or if this wasn't a cardiac arrest situation, I totally agree with B. But because of that, C is almost a more right answer.
Because you can still get those students to the learning objectives. And I think we can't read anything or say anything into this scenario. Like I would say, if I'm doing this
reading into it.
yeah. So the key thing that they're wanting us to remember is the learning objectives. If we, because say the baby cardiac arrest, we could not do the learning objectives. How can you still, because that can happen in practice, right?
Yeah,
You
but
can go in to take care of your client and the client can, cardiac arrest. But can we still get them to the end, right? I've done opioid sims and it wasn't for the student, for the patient, the cardiac arrest, but I was able to, the students, I would take them there. I mean, it would happen after they are able to meet their objectives. The next go around, we would go ahead and let the guy cardiac arrest, and they were able to even learn and continue to move forward with their learning
yeah.
objectives. So
I guess I'm just reading into it. Like you're saying you're modifying on the fly. To me, you're modifying the learning objectives on the fly. And I guess it's not what it's saying.
No. You're not
Okay.
modifying your learning objectives. You're modifying your role as the facilitator. You know,
Okay. All
this
right,
happens and the student starts responding, right? They respond, but in that same scenario, you still can get them to reach the end of their learning objectives, right?
Okay.
You don't
right.
modify, You
I'll come off
modify
my
your
soapbox.
you will modify your facilitation, the way you facilitate it, because you still
Okay.
have to stick to those learning objectives. And it really reflects real practice too. It reflects what would happen in practice, because they can go to
No, yeah.
clinicals tomorrow, and we've had some sims that they've done and went to clinicals the next day, and guess what? They'd had a patient code on them. And because of that sim, or what happened when, sim did not go according to plan, students went left, right? And in their way of going left, we were able to merge them back over to the right so that they can get to their learning objectives. And we still was able to meet the scenario. But what we would do regarding psychological safety, maintaining that, you're going to pay attention to your participants in the simulation, right? And if those participants are rolling with it, which that's what you would hope would happen, if they're, if that was out in practice, you're good. But if you notice that there's some students that are being impacted by that, you're going to address that in debriefing, right? But if it's to the place that student cannot and they leave the room, then we will go and have either the instructor to go meet with the student to see if they're okay. But that's going to be a nice debriefing. That's going to be a nice debriefing opportunity to even talk to them. I noticed that whenever the patient, the baby flatline, I noticed that you might say, John, I noticed that you kind of stood still. Can you tell me what you were thinking? And that's going to be a nice time to really talk about that. So you will still, as the facilitator, still trying to maintain that psychological safety, but you can do that on the, facilitation on the fly, if that makes sense. So don't read too much into your questions, but I truly hear exactly what you're saying, and can
Thank
see
you.
how that can be argued as well. But your thinking you're spot on. Okay, someone, Miss Isaac.
Oh, sorry. I was just about to ask what Adam asked, but he beat me to it. So we're good.
Yeah. Number 10. Let's see what it is over here. Yes. Okay, let's read the rationale. If the learning objectives can be met, then evolving the scenario is a good solution to this challenge. Stopping the simulation and attempting to reestablish the Wi-Fi connection while you give the learners a break may waste valuable time and interrupt the suspension of reality that the learners have established. Stopping the simulation and debriefing the scenario based on the objectives the learners have met will result in incomplete learning. Then we're fragmenting their learning in the simulated experience, announcing to the students that the Wi-Fi connection was lost again, and to continue the simulation with modified objectives, that wouldn't work either. It's not desirable, and this will not meet the initial learning objectives set up for this simulation. Okay, that was good. Good. Number 10, A recently purchased high-fidelity human patient simulator does not function as intended for the third time this week. Each time this occurs, the HPS is turned off, then restarted, after which it begins to work properly. What action should be taken with this HPS? Yes, D, call the sales rep. We've done had this happen too many times. Call the sales representative or the manufacturer customer service. Yep. D is your correct response. Report the problem and work with the company for resolution. Determining that this is a normal challenge when working with the HPS and not reporting the problem and only documenting it in your HPS equipment logbook are helpful for historical data, but will not resolve the issue. Simply document incidents will not bring the problem toward a resolution. Reporting the problem early can help resolve this issue. Although you may feel justified in reporting your problems and frustration on Facebook, this will not resolve the issue with the HPS. We get in our sim communities and boy, we wear them out, right? Don't you get such and such? That blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. Learner objectives, maintaining the reality of the sim, the realism that you start, trying to maintain that in a very healthy way as a facilitator, making sure we maintain that. The goal is to get to the end, to help those students achieve their learning outcomes in a healthy way, right? And every time you set out to do a sim, it don't always go ABC exactly the way you planned it, right? Which that's cool because it really reflects real practice and we're preparing them for real practice. So how do we help them navigate through that? Erica.
I might be missing something and I read through the rationale, but I thought we had talked about, and maybe it's just with equipment and not with a simulator, but I thought after we check the cords, we turn it on and off, I thought we would take a look in the manual before calling.
Which one are you on, huh? Which question was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I already? Oh no, 10. Is another question?
No. We that was early on. Which book do you have? Do you have
No, I'm following with you, but I think I had raised my hand on question 10, but that was, I just wanted
It's similar to
clarification.
number 7, and
Yes.
that's where the confusion lays.
what question number 10?
So she's trying to say that in number 10, it says that you should call the
Okay.
manufacturer, but number 7 says check the cords and then
Oh,
if that
yeah.
all fails,
Thank you
that.
for
Yeah, that one is is controversial. I would agree with you. Yep. Because when you go back, your steps were first. You do what? Check all your connections, right? Make
right.
sure all your connections are in. Make sure everything is connected, right?
Right. Anyways, I was trying to look at the rationale as to why we wouldn't be looking at the manual, but it doesn't really address it unless I'm missing something.
No. The only one when you see review the troubleshooting section in the HPS manual.
Yeah.
Review your problem and frustration. No. Accept the fact that this is a normal challenge when working. No. Call the sales rep or manufacturer. The thing about this one right here is, guess what? It keeps happening over and over again. This says a recently purchased HPS that does not function as intended for how many times? The third time this week. When it happens the first time, you go through your troubleshooting, right? This is saying this has happened what? More than one time.
Right.
Right. And
I
if
mean,
it's
I feel like it should have at least said in the scenario that had already been covered, and it didn't explain that.
okay, look, don't read the question again. It says a recently purchased HPS. You got a brand new HPS, recently purchased. Well, it didn't say brand new. Again, I'm putting something into that question, but it says a recently purchased high fidelity does not function as intended for the third time this week. I mean, that's the third time it's done that in a week.
Right. I know. I'm just saying it didn't mention that they looked in the manual at all.
But they should have done that the first time. They should have done that the second time. They should have done that the first time on how to troubleshoot. Because if this is the same
Right.
problem that happened the first time, they should have followed that same process. They should have checked the connections. You know, they
But
should have,
that's us assuming that that happened, but we
and
don't have
that's
that information.
right. So you can't, well, when I see that this is the third time, I have a, so you have a simulator that you recently purchased, right? And the first time it happens, you follow the process, right? You checked all the connections and they're secure. You ensure that the device is plugged up. You shut the device down. You go to the manual, look for troubleshooting, but you have the same situation happening again the third time in the same week. So if you do the same thing that you did the first time and it's happening again on the third, it's time now we need to call the manufacturer because there's something wrong with that simulator. Going back through your book is not going to help you because you've already done it the first two times. You've had this happen 3 times in the same week. So I wouldn't read too much past that because if you're going to keep going, this is the third time in the same week with the same simulator. Do you need to call your first thing? I wouldn't even go back through I would call the vendor and say, hey, I've already troubleshooted through this 2 times this week. This is the third time the simulator is doing the same thing. Because at that time, they need to intervene because there's more of a manufacturer issue than you trying to troubleshoot to make it better.
Right.
Yeah, because it's happened more than one time. That's the each time this occurs, the HPS is turned off and then restarted. They tell you what they've done in which it appears to work properly. What action should you take? So for all the times that you've already done it the 2 times before, you've already done the proper channels. When I read this, they've already done this 2 times prior to this. And now we're on the third time in the same week that is still doing the same thing. So now we need to take this, not you and I try to troubleshoot it ourselves. This is beyond us. We need to go to the manufacturer now. They need to go and actually, it's beyond us troubleshooting. And your first inclination, the best answer would be you need to call the manufacturer, especially after you've done troubleshooted 2 times prior to that in the same week. Now I can see if this happened this month and then it happens again next month. That's some time in between that we could have some other issues. But you've having the same thing happen 3 times in 1 week. So your best fit answer would be call them because they need to, maybe it's something they may have to do virtually, port in to actually see. You may have a shortage or it may be a bad simulator itself. And if you're a high functioning simulation center, you don't have downtime to have to keep dealing with a simulator that keeps shutting off on you doing the same thing. So that's your best answer. But I hear you, Erica. I hear you. But that's your best answer because it's done happen. This is the third time, the same thing. Okay. All righty. Because when you look at number 7, it didn't say that it had occurred before. That's the difference between 7 and 10. In 7, it says you was just setting up for the scenario and the simulation educator notices a piece of the equipment is not working correctly. Select the item which is the best sequence for troubleshooting and correcting the problem. But when you get down to number 10, you got a situation where it's done happened 3 times in 1 week. So you got a difference from this first occurrence. I'm going to follow the algorithm or follow the steps of troubleshooting versus another situation where you are the expert simulation educator and this done happen 3 times in a week. Okay? Anybody else have some input on that? Thank you, Erica. That's good. I hope that was helpful. Okay. So it is 6:59. Let's see where we are. We will go ahead and take a break, but when we come back, we'll go ahead and I wanted to come back at 7 and actually go through your go ahead and start your test, but we didn't get to our chapter 23. So are you okay to go ahead and do chapter 23 and then take the break? Or would you like to have a break now? I'm okay either way. Thumbs up or thumbs down, anybody? Someone put a okay. You ready for a break or you rather keep going forward?
Let's keep
All
moving.
right.
Keep going.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So we are on page 411. This is looking at simulation resources and environment. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Let me check something right quick. Okay. All righty. Number 1, which statement is true? This chapter is focusing a lot on our NASCO standards. And that's those articles that I put in our folder day 1. So make sure if we're struggling with any of these questions, we need to go back and look at our NASCO standards because this chapter focuses a lot on those standards. Which statement is true about the standard of pre-briefing, preparation and briefing? A, this standard's sole purpose is to obtain ultimate learning outcomes while performing interprofessional simulation experiences. B, this standard describes facilitation methods and presents the key qualities of an effective facilitator. C, this standard emphasizes that all simulation-based education programs require systems and infrastructure to support and maintain operations. D, this standard should be developed according to the purpose and learning objectives of the simulation-based experience. Correct. Your answer is D. This is pre-briefing should be developed according to the learning outcomes. We do all of that in our briefing time of our simulation planning, looking at our learning outcomes. Our needs assessment is done in that time, establishment of your objectives, outcomes, what type of fidelity we're going to use at that time. The simulation educator should have competency in pre-briefing, and the pre-brief should be at the correct level of your students, of your learners. Learning outcomes are not the sole purpose of pre-briefing, and the facilitator's effectiveness is not being judged. Pre-briefing does not include infrastructure. Please make sure we go back to our standard if we're struggling with the pre-briefing briefing standard. Number 2, the blank prepares activities and pre-briefings prior to simulation-based experiences and also delivers cues aimed to assist participants in achieving expected outcomes. Yay, the facilitator. Correct. The facilitator is your correct answer. The facilitator is the person that prepares the activities, and pre-briefing is to assist the students in achieving the learning outcomes. We go over our learning contracts, fiction contracts, and all of that in our pre-briefing, over our timing of our simulation, the simulation agenda, our role expectations, everything we need to do during that pre-briefing time to help those students be prepared to go into that simulation successfully. Project managers or directors have a larger role and oversee simulation laboratories, while information technologists assist with the computerization of the simulation laboratories. Number 3, the simulation educator is developing a self-study report for an accreditation process and describing a simulation about the goals and responsibilities of a rapid response team. This should be integrated in which of the following standards? A, evaluation of learning and performance. B, the debriefing process. C, facilitation. D, outcomes and objectives. Yes, yes, yes. Outcomes and objectives, correct. When we outline the goals and responsibilities. Defining the goals and outcomes of the simulation scenario as they are being planned. Evaluation of the learners, formative, summative evaluation methods. Debriefing is the reflective learning that takes place after the simulation experience, while facilitation has to do with what? Program outcomes. Number 4, end of semester competency checkoff using a SP is an example of what type of assessment? Lori, what is our key word in that question that lets us know that it's summative?
End of semester competency checkoff.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. End of semester. End of semester. Summative evaluation is the final grade of an experience or a course. Formative evaluation is done what we're forming that students are learning along the way as learning experiences so competencies can improve. This is also true for a midterm or midpoint assessment. Self-assessment is a reflective process that promotes what? Self-improvement. Number 5, which standard emphasizes the need for a gap analysis assessment, as well as encourages continuous learning development of the simulist? A, outcomes and objectives. B, the debriefing process. C, professional development. D, facilitation. Correct. C, professional development. Simulation educators. Correct. Simulation educators need continuous professional development to keep up to date on methodologies and theories. Professional development also includes gap analysis in order to enact process improvement. The simulist should already understand how to develop outcomes and objectives, how to debrief after a scenario, and facilitation is the type of teaching that is promoted in the sim lab and is also part of the simulation's job description. Number 6, a key ingredient for a successful accreditation process is to have A, simulation educator, B, accreditation liaison, C, consultant, D, project manager. Yes, simulation educator. The one that understands simulation standards. Facilitation includes, let me see what. A simulation educator who is certified in simulation and understands the accreditation process and expectations is needed. A consultant liaison or manager is not necessary to ensure good accreditation outcomes. The simulation educator is the key person needed. Number 7, the simulation educators developing a self-study for accreditation and includes a section on personnel qualifications, and the information should be included in A, professional development, the debriefing standard, sim design, or doing facilitation. Correct. Yes. Valerie, can you tell me why you chose D for that answer, please? Number 7.
Because your facilitators are kind of the hub, they're overseeing everything. They should have an understanding of professional integrity and the debriefing process, and they should have a hand in simulation design. So that was the one that made the most sense to me.
Thank you so much. Best practice is the method that has been generally accepted. Let's see. Number 8, during the accreditation application process, we're in accreditation again, the applicant needs consultation about learning domains. Learning domains. The most appropriate organization to contact is who? SSH, NASCO, the National Board of Nursing, or NLN? Yes, hands down, A. SSH. SSH. Number 9, the best practice is a method that has been generally accepted as superior to any alternatives because it produces results that are supported by research. Which standard incorporates best practice for adult learning? Adult learning. Yes, C is correct. Adult learning. Facilitation is the best simulation teaching practice. It makes the learning experience as rich as possible and meets the student learning outcomes. The debriefing process is important, but facilitation is also used in debriefing. Outcomes and objectives are made prior to the teaching process, as is the simulation design. We facilitate debriefing with our Socratic questioning. Debriefing by meaningful judgment plus delta. Number 10, the duration of a simulation center accreditation is A, 1 year, B, 3 years, C, 5 years, and D, 8 years. Yep, 5 years is the duration of your simulation accreditation. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Does anybody have center certified online in our group? Is anybody simulation center certified? Anybody? Okay. All right. So we're going to take a nice 15-minute break here. We'll be back at 7:25. And at that time, you will have time to take the test. And we'll do the first 25 questions, okay? So go get you a nice break, and then we'll come back and take our practice test in chapter 24. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I know it says accreditation is usually 5 years, but I feel like I read somewhere, or maybe it was the last chapter's question, or maybe I'm in the back of the book. How often is strategic planning every 5 years as well?
Your strategic planning for your center,
Or just
for your
universities that,
center, for
yeah.
your organization,
Is it
your
5 years as
strategic
well?
planning. Sometimes it can vary. It could be 3 to 5 years, or it could be 5 years. We're up now getting ready to do our strategic planning. Does anyone have a simulation policy they would be willing to share? Tell us what your simulation policy, which policy you're looking for, Valerie. Just a basic simulation policy?
Yes, ma'am. I am just something to get started. Like, I haven't really been tasked with writing one, but I feel like if I can get ahead of it, jump start. I kind of Googled it and can't really find anything. So I was just reaching out to see if anybody had one that they'd be willing to share that I could look at and kind of.
Okay. We are back. Hope everybody was able to take a brief break. A nice little refresher. We're going to do 25 of the questions, the first 25 questions in the practice test. It starts on page 417. Okay. And I'm going to give you 25 minutes to do it, okay? 25 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer here. 25. Okay. Everybody back? You ready? Miss Isaac, are you there? Erica?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'll be writing the answers on a sheet of paper, or we put it in the chat.
Yes, you could put them on, you could put them on a sheet of paper, okay? And then when we go over them, you'll be able to put them in chat then. Okay, everybody back? I think we are. Erica may be away with her baby.
Is the idea we should take this test is 3 hours, correct?
Say that again now.
Is the test 3 hours?
Is the test 3 hours? We're only going to do 25 tonight. We're only going to do 25 questions tonight. I'm going to leave the
Oh.
rest of them so that you'll be able to have some practice test on your own, test questions on your own. Okay.
Oh, I know we're only doing 25. I'm asking because I overheard you said the website is down. So we can't, was I mistaken when I heard you said the website was down?
Kim said it was down. We were trying to find the policies, the operational manual that's on SSH that you can use to help align your centers for accreditation.
Yes, I'm
So we were
asking because the website is down. How long is the test usually? Is it 3 hours? Or
What?
2 hours? The CHSE exam.
You mean the certification exam, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So when we
3
go
hours.
take our exam, how long is it?
Lord Jesus, you would pull me on that question. I gotta confirm that for you. It is timed. I know that much. I have to go back. I will have that information for you. But we're not gonna do a 3 hour time test tonight. We don't have the chance.
I
I'm
know. I'm just trying to
I am
gauge.
gonna time you though for the first 25 questions. I'm gonna give you 1 minute per question.
Yeah, I'm asking because I already did the questions. I was just
You
worried
did.
that, yeah, I did it earlier, but I was just worried that I took too much time. That's why I'm
got
trying
you.
to see, should I gauge it a
Okay.
minute per question? I don't know how much time I have.
Okay. Let's let them get started and I will let you know, okay?
All right, thank you.
Can you text me in the chat how long it took you? Do that as one just to me, okay?
Okay.
How long it took you to do your test, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and get everybody else started. Okay, I'm going ahead and start everybody. The timer is started.
That's really tight. How am I gonna do that in 2 hours? A 100 questions.
Everybody's ready? We'll go ahead and get started. Okay. We're on page 417. Who would like to read the first one and answer it for us? Oh, read the first one and give everybody a chance to put their answers in the chat box and read the rationale for us.
I
Or
can.
tell. Okay, thank you, Adam.
So what is the best simulation modality to promote changes in learner behavior in the affective domain? A, simulated participants, B, part task trainers, C, high fidelity mannequins, or D, virtual reality? And hold on, I gotta skim to the rationale. Too far. So A, simulated participants. Simulated participants will provide the learner with a human that can assist them with the reflecting on how they made patient feel during their interaction. Part task trainers, high fidelity mannequins, and virtual reality cannot replace the humanness for affective learning.
Everybody got that one. Thank you, Adam. Affective, that's standardized patient. Psychomotor, we can use our task trainers, right? Good. Number 2, who would like to do number 2 for us, please? Everybody got that one correct.
I'll do that one.
Thank you.
When considering psychological fidelity, what is the most important to consider? And that would be C, learning outcomes to guide the simulation. Having a planned simulation learning experience with learning outcomes to guide the simulation is important and maintains psychological fidelity. Learner-centric approaches are also important, but do not guarantee that the scenario or the learning activity will be psychologically sound for all learners. Neither does having a certified simulation educator or a high fidelity simulator.
Most important learning outcomes, correct. Everybody got that one correct. Thank you, Lori. Number 3.
Which simulated which simulated participant attributes needs to be considered for realism? A, hair and skin color. B, ethnicity and education level. C, race and articulation. Or D, age and gender. And the answer is D. Oops. Can do that.
Everybody, they put the answers in. We'll get, once you read it, pause and give everybody an opportunity. Most of them are already going to start put them in the box because we're recording your responses as well. So that's good. Yeah.
Do you want me to read the rationale?
Yes.
Okay. And so learners are assisted if age and personal identified gender are congruent with the simulation scenario. This will increase realism more than hair or skin color, ethnicity, race, articulation, and educational level.
Yep. Want to have some congruency there. If your simulation is calling for a 54-year-old or a teenager, you want to make sure that that age and gender, that gives us the most realism, making sure we align that with the age. I mean, with the age of your scenario. Number 4. Age and gender congruency, the simulation scenario.
The new
Number-
simulation editor needs a better understanding of simulation techniques when they state that according to the National League for Nursing, NLN, Jeffrey's simulation theory, the following component of simulation is important. This one, A, educational strategies, B, participants, C, simulation experiences, or D, specific pre-brief times. Everybody. All right. So it says D, specific pre-brief times. And the rationale was the pre-brief and debrief should not have specific or strict times to be completed. Each group of participants may have different learning needs. There needs to be an experience, educational strategies, and participants for learners. That's it. But for me, it was just there are always questions. So you really can have set pre-brief time. You can guide it so that it doesn't go on all day, but you know, that was really my rationale thinking through it.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. And one thing about it now, if you see questions on your exam that talk about, like in the briefing part of your simulation experience, you do need to make sure that you do have a schedule. You know, that you do have a schedule with time. So just make sure if you're seeing questions that are centered around what happens in that briefing phase of your simulation planning, that is one of the things that you need to make sure that you do have a simulation schedule that outline those specific times for each part of that simulation. Yeah. Number 5.
A simulation researcher would like to investigate Kirkpatrick's level of evaluation and would like to focus on levels that need more evidence. Therefore, the simulation researcher would choose A, 1 and 2, B, 2 and 3, C, 3 and 4, D, 4 and 1. I put the answer as C. I got it correct, but I had no idea what I was picking. I just figured those were higher levels, so they needed more evidence, but I had no idea why.
Okay.
And
Okay.
reading the rationale, I still don't understand why.
Okay. Okay. Those, were you able to go over the chapter about Kilpatrick's? And I sent out the theory for Kilpatrick that had the different levels on it.
No, that was on
Okay.
the last email.
2 emails ago, I think. Yeah, and it's in your folder as well. When we
Okay.
went over theories, because we spent a good bit of time on theories, and the Kilpatrick's, you need to know Kilpatrick's and how
Okay.
it transfer in, because you're gonna see that in play in your CHSE. Just recognizing the level 1, like when your learners come out, level 1, you're saying, oh, can you tell me, how are you feeling? What went well? You know, what did not go well? You're looking for the low level reaction of the participants to the simulation. And then they move from their learning to the next reaction to learning. What did you learn? Noticing what that student was able to pull from the simulation experience skill wise, how they were able to connect the dots cognitive wise. So then you move from that level of learning to your behavior level. How are they able to transfer what they've learned into practice and actually see them carry out those skills? And then the last level, Kilpatrick's learning, is when they're able, or even in evaluation, they talked about Kilpatrick. How are you able to get results? See results transferred into practice with your patient outcomes. So you want to make sure you go back through those levels from reaction to learning to behavior to results.
Okay, I'll be sure to.
The level that we don't have a whole lot, you need more information, and to follow more up with is that last level of research, just really seeing how, you know, as a result of simulation, patient care outcomes are being changed, how we're able to follow that up and really get some true data to support it. But you'll see Kilpatrick again. And let me know, Miss Isaac, once you look over everything, if you still need some more resources, I'll be glad to get that for you as well. But those are your 2 levels. And yeah. Okay. Thank you. Number 6.
I can do 6.
Okay, thank you.
The simulation educator understands education and learning in simulation when they state using a simulation video in what manner? A, show the entire video without comments. B, bookmark while videotaping and show critical points. C, bookmark while videotaping and just show negative points. D, send the video to participants to watch on their own time. The correct answer is B, with the rationale being showing the video's important or critical points, both positive and negative, is more effective than showing the entire video. Just showing negative implementations, or letting learners watch the video on their own.
Correct. And with your learning management systems, you're often able to do that, and you're able to do that in your debriefing. You're able to go back and actually pinpoint those areas of concern when you're going back to do your video debriefing with your learners. By going back and looking at your videos and looking at those critical points as you were able to bookmark them along the way. Not only just show negative points or positive points, but showing all of those critical points of learning. Bookmark while videotaping. B is your correct answer. Number 7.
The novice educator needs a better understanding of simulation research efforts when they state A, gold standard for debriefing process is needed. B, learner satisfaction with simulation pedagogy is understudied. C, the impact of participants' race on simulation outcomes is understudied. D, we need to know more about the effectiveness of virtual and screen-based learning. Number 7.
Yep, I think we're good.
Answer is B.
Mm-hmm.
Learner satisfaction with simulation pedagogy is understudied. Learners' perception of simulation is one area that has been studied. Debriefing processes, learner satisfaction with simulation pedagogy, and the impact of a participant's race are in need of further investigation and data to determine best practice.
Correct.
So,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Number 8.
I can go.
Thank you, Eric.
From the national survey, what is the ratio of clinical to simulation time? 2-1, 2-2, 1-2. No evidence supports a particular ratio. And it is C, 1-2. 1 hour of simulation is comparable to 2 hours of direct patient clinical experience due to the intensiveness, reflection, and clinical decision-making components. Research does not support 2-1, 2-2 ratios.
Yep. Thank you so much. Yeah, that is correct. And number 9, I'll do that one. The simulation educator did a literature search and found the most published data pertain to which of the following levels of Kilpatrick's evaluation process? A, level 1 reaction. B, level 2 learning. C, level 3 behavior. D, level 4 results. Yes, and the correct answer is A, level 1 reaction. And the rationale. The most research level is the reaction level, which has to do with learners' perception of the simulation experience. The second most researched area are learning and behavior changes. More research is needed about long-term outcome and results. Okay. Everybody's doing really well.
Number 10, a novice simulation educator needs better understanding of simulation learning when they indicate that they plan to use which of the following modalities for mental health simulation. A, virtual game. B, high fidelity simulator. C, part task trainer. And D, simulated participant. So that would be C, part task trainer. Part task trainer is probably the least effective modality to use for affective simulation learning.
That's
Their
right.
choice may be a simulated patient so they could display the mental health issue. High fidelity may be used if the controller can use audio, but it is still not as effective as a live person who can demonstrate emotion. Virtual gaming will also lack the emotion needed.
Mhm. Mhm. Affective, psychomotor, and cognitive. Mental health, affective. You're correct. Simulated patient, high fidelity, simulator, or virtual gaming. Part-time task trainers, we would probably want to see them more with our psychomotor skills. So that would be your choice. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Number 11.
The novice simulation educator needs further education when they state a debriefing framework is debriefing with good judgment, preview advocacy inquiry, debriefing for meaningful learning, and plus delta. So it's C, debriefing for meaningful learning. And where is that one? So debriefing for meaningful learning is not actually a debriefing framework. Debriefing with good judgment, preview advocacy inquiry, and plus delta are techniques used to debrief.
Good, good, good. Number 12.
Kim can do that one. Oh,
The-
someone
the-
else?
Does everybody,
sorry, the
before we
organiz-
move, hold on
Mhm.
just a second, before we move past, does everybody feel pretty comfortable with debriefing? Those different techniques? Does everybody understand those pretty well? Were you able to look over? I sent a document out too that had it and actually gave examples with each one. So does everybody feel pretty comfortable? Because I really want to make sure you do it. Relook at that document because I even gave some examples of what that looks like when it's seen in simulation scenarios. So please make sure it will help you so much. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. Yeah, I'll review that. I did
Yeah.
not get that one correct, so
Okay. And Erica, please email me once you review it. Okay.
thank you.
And if I need to do just email me because I want to make sure because it's really good. All right. Number 12.
Okay, it's Kim. I can try that. The organization that maintains healthcare simulation standards of best practice is the A, National League for Nursing, B, Society for Simulation in Healthcare, C, International Nursing Association for Clinical Simulation and Learning, D, Association of Standardized Patient Educators. The correct answer is B, SSH.
Mhm.
I was actually a little confused
I know which
because
one you're going to choose. A
I
NASCO?
was gonna choose an Axel because of the best practices.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Right. Yep. Yep. I got it. I would have that one there it could be open for some challenging. Yeah.
okay, because I would have picked an Axel. So,
Mhm.
um,
You think about accreditation, certification, SSH. You think about best practice standards, you think a NASCO. So I got it. That'd have been another one we would put on Adam's list. Where is Adam? Let me see. Yeah, but I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's not a good one.
What did you say under the society simulation accreditation, and what was the other one you said?
Certifications.
Okay.
They're the ones that do our certifications and accreditations of our SIM centers. And
Okay.
they do talk about best practices as well, because they do policies, they have manuals where you can actually use those best practices to certify your centers, right? And to become accredited. So they house best practice, but if you were just to ask right off the top of your head, if you had to decide between the two, a NASCO would be my first for best practices relating to the standards, right? And then SSH, you would think accreditation and certifications. Mhm. But housed in SSH, they have tons of videos as well and webinars and courses that they do on best practices in simulation Number 13. A simulation educator receives a simulation educator receives accommodation letter from the University Disability Office that states the student has an accommodation, which is a special stethoscope for people with hearing impairment. The simulation educator should A, develop a scenario in which a stethoscope is not needed, B, assign the student to be an observer or a participant, C, ask the student in pre-briefing if it works well for them, D, allow the student to use the stethoscope. Correct. And the answer is D, allow the student to use the stethoscope. Students with accommodations. Yes, sir. That's really focusing on how do we manage accommodations with our students in the simulation experiences. An amplified stethoscope is a reasonable accommodation, and the simulation educator should not interfere with the student using it or bring attention to it. Developing a scenario in which a stethoscope is not needed is not necessary. The student should not be assigned another role since they are a learner, and calling out the student in pre-briefing is not appropriate. Number 14. The simulation educator needs to get up the laboratory for advanced healthcare learners to practice central line insertion. The best modality to practice the skill would be A, simulated participant, B, high fidelity mannequin, C, part task trainer, D, virtual reality. Correct. C, and the thing that cued us in, because this is a psychomotor skill, right? Skills. So the best type of modality would be your part task trainer. Yes, your part task trainer. C is your answer. Part task trainer is the best modality because it can elicit the skill and is durable. So students can practice over and over without wearing and the wear and tear of a more expensive mannequin or high fidelity mannequin. VR does not provide hands-on experience, and simulated participants is not used for invasive procedures. 15, a simulation educator is debriefing a group of junior learners and properly focuses the discussion by stating, A, I think the best start is to review the entire scenario. B, you work well as a team. C, let's take a vote to see what the best part of the experience was. D, we can discuss how we would do that the next time. Yes, the correct answer is D. It is D. Debriefing is to promote self-reflection, right? Self-reflection. You tell us, let's discuss. What do you think? Should we do this the next time? Giving them the opportunity to reflect and respond. The purpose of debriefing is process improvement. There's only a need to review important parts, not review the entire scenario. The learners should reflect on their team effort, and the best part of the experience may be different from different learners. She picked A, but I read too much. Yes, thank you, Adam. I think the best start is to review the entire, yeah. We want to find out what you think. How do you think we should do this? Debriefing is all reflection. Reflecting on the behavior and how can we change it? Then what do you think? Give the learners the opportunity to tell what they think will happen. Number 16, a simulation consultant was hired by a healthcare academic unit to assist with developing a simulation program. The best advice would include scheduling simulation at a specific time during each semester. B, having the students sign up on their own for simulation experiences. C, using simulation as a remediation tool to enhance learning. Or D, integrating simulation throughout the curriculum. Correct. The answer is D. Integrating simulation throughout the curriculum. Integrating simulation throughout. That's the best advice. Let's see. Oh. Simulation experiences could be integrated throughout the curriculum to effectively enhance knowledge acquisition. It does not have to be a specific time, and all students should have the experience as a learning tool rather than just remediation. Okay. Number 17, a novice simulation educator has new video equipment capabilities and would like to use the video equipment. The seasoned simulation educator looks at the upcoming lab schedule and suggests A, interviewing a patient, standardized patient, B, mega code and advanced cardiac life support, medication administration, or D, intraosseous vascular insertion. Yes, would someone like to share why they chose A? That is the correct answer. Why did you choose A?
I just thought communication. Interviewing
Hmm.
would be awesome. The best use for that video.
Mhm. Great, great, great. Let's see what it says. Number 17. Interviewing a patient is ideal to videotape and have the learner rewatch and reflect. Mega code in ACLS, medication administration, intraosseous vascular insertion, concentrate on what? Skills and actions that can be recorded by other methods. Interpersonal interactions are captured well on video. Okay. Number 18, simulation consultant is using Kearns et al. Method of curriculum integration and is therefore expected to begin the curriculum change by A, performing a needs assessment, B, undertaking a learner assessment, C, choosing the appropriate environment, D, establishing learning objectives. Correct. Needs assessment first. Needs assessment first. Our briefing standard, our preparation standard. A needs assessment is the first step to identify if change is needed and the gaps in the curriculum that must be addressed. Learner assessments can be added to the needs assessment once gaps have been established. The environment is the entire learning organizational unit, and the learning objectives should be established when a new curriculum model is decided upon by the faculty. And we're able to do that, right? Once we get what is the problem. That needs assessment first. 19, the novice simulation educator needs additional understanding when they state the following is a protection of students' ethical, legal, and regulatory rights in a simulation laboratory. A, having codes of conduct accessible to students. B, maintaining fair evaluation processes throughout the learning activities. C, implied consent to record when tapes will be destroyed after debriefing. And D, consent for picture taken for any use. Right, they need additional because you do need consent, right? Maintaining fair evaluations, having codes, all of those you need. But C is the correct answer, implied consent. That is the correct answer. Oh, everybody's doing great. Even if a tape is going to be destroyed, there still needs to be permission before it's tape. Okay? Having codes of conduct accessible to students, maintaining fair evaluation processes throughout the learning activities, and consent for picture taken for any use are what? The right things to do. Okay, and we have policies for those in place as well.
I have
20.
a quick question on the recording. Is that prior to each sim, or can there be one consent signed at the beginning of the semester?
Yeah, you could do it at the beginning based on how you do it in your organization, but you do have to make sure you have one signed. And also in that consent, it needs to be detailed on what it's going to be used for and how long it's going to be stored. Yeah.
Okay.
So you could do that at the start. We do ours at our first simulation for our students, and it follows them throughout the whole program.
Through the whole program. Okay.
Mhm,
All right.
yeah. So that could be specific in your area. Now we have now if you're doing it with students that come into your program, like your IP, of course, if they're doing their first sim with you, you want to make sure you get it with those students. Or any new people joining your sim, mhm.
I had a
Um,
I had a question about 19. I guess
mhm,
what made me pick D was because it
mhm.
said for any use, and I just thought like it's kind of like one of those any and alls. I was a little thrown off. Um, so but I can say so so I just want to make sure I'm clear. So it's not okay to just assume that you have consent, even if you're going to destroy it. Is that what
No,
it's
it's
the is
not okay. No, you need to have consent. You're right. You need to
okay?
have consent.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're gonna take pictures, yeah. Mhm. Because if you don't, you can set yourself up and your center up for some legal issues down the road if something should happen or it showed up, what if you think you've destroyed it, but it pops up somewhere? So yeah, protecting the students. Good question. Number 20, which assessment method should the simulation educator use to measure competency attainment? Competency assessment. A, validated checklist, B, multiple choice test, C, peer critique, D, focus group. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, 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 yes. Competency-based validated skills sheets is your best form of assessment for competency-based. Let's see. Okay, yep, a checklist that is validated is a good objective method to measure competency. Multiple choice testing is better suited for cognitive evaluation. Peer critiques is good for feedback, but the learners are not experts, and a focus group is good for what? Understanding perceptions. Great, great, great. Let's see. 21 studies have consistently demonstrated that simulation is a good learning experience to improve clinical outcomes, B, teamwork, C, patient outcomes, D, knowledge. Correct, correct, correct. Remember, we need more studies in the area of outcomes. Correct. It is B, teamwork. And then we remember, don't forget to know about team steps. And what does that look like in a simulated experience? Teamwork. There are studies that support SIM as a learning methodology and positively affects learning methodology that positively affects teamwork. More studies are needed long-term to understand simulation's effect on knowledge retention and clinical and patient outcomes. Okay. IPE is used in simulation as a modality consistent with A, experiential learning, B, behavioralism, C, deliberate practice, D, self-directed learning. Yes, A, awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Experiential learning. IPE is a form of experiential learning because it encompasses in-person and hands-on learning. Behaviorism is a learning theory, that uses a reward system. Deliberate practice does not have to encompass interprofessional students, and IPE is not usually what? Self-directed learning. Good, 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 good. I love it. It's Kolb's experiential learning theory. 23, a simulation educator wants to improve healthcare learners' skill in central venous catheter placement. The best teaching method to accomplish this is what? A, deliberate practice, B, high fidelity scenarios, C, case studies, D, standardized patient encounter. Yes, the best skill is deliberate practice, having them do it over and over again while providing them feedback along the way. Good, good, good. Deliberate feedback. Deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is a modality that assists mastery in psychomotor competency. High fidelity mannequins are not needed for tasks. Case studies do not provide the psychomotor skill, and standardized patients cannot be used for invasive procedures. 23, a simulation educator wants to improve healthcare learner skill. Oh, we just done that one, I'm sorry. 24, a simulation educator is providing a healthcare learner with a documented formative feedback on interpersonal communication skills. The purpose of this is to A, assign a grade for the activity, B, provide information for pre-briefing, C, give constructive feedback, D, add to a pass-fail in clinical skills. Yep, our key word in that question was formative. Formative evaluation is what providing that constructive feedback along the way as we move that student towards proficiency. Grade, information and pre-briefing, add to pass. You have your summative evaluation scattered in those answers. So let's see, formative evaluation is for your improvement, and therefore it is constructive feedback. Assigning a grade, pass or fail, is summative. Providing information is not an assessment, it is learning. 25, during a scenario, the simulation educator programs the mannequin to cough in order to have the learners listen to long sounds that they did not complete on a head-to-toe patient assessment. This technique is which activity, element, or modality? You have passive element, active, interactive, or transference. Correct. It is an interactive element responding to that student. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Inserting a cue during a simulation, during a scenario, is to assist the learners in an interactive interaction element. This is not passive or active learning, and there is no transference into practice because the standards are practicing. Okay. Everybody did good. You did very well. I was trying to keep up with your answers in the chat box, but if you would do me a favor and just email me your score. We did 25 questions, so email me your score. If you can email me that, I would appreciate it because I need to have that. Your score. I could go back and look at everybody's answers, but if you can just email me your score, I would really appreciate that, okay? You still have 75 more questions in here to do. I do encourage you to do those questions. Now, if you're not going to be testing anytime soon, I do encourage you to, SSH has a oh my gosh, simulation CHSE manual that has more questions in it as well, with some nice little scenarios that you can also have access to. Once you sign up for your CHSE testing, you will also have access to a sample test inside of the SSH platform as well that really mirrors a little bit of what you'll see on the day of testing when you go to sit for your CHSE exam. Thank you, Adam. He put in the box. I had a, what you call it, like a brain lag. Well, when she said how many hours, it kind of threw me as well. But he is correct. It's 2 hours that you sit for that exam. It is timed. And so I do encourage you. What I did for myself was when I took my quizzes, I would time myself and actually put the timer on and just kept doing questions. Please use the crosswalk that I gave you into the defining excellence in simulation programs. Please make sure you use this book. I can't stress it enough. This book was very helpful to me. It really takes a deeper dive than the book that the simulation healthcare review book that we've been doing. This defining excellence in simulation programs takes it to a deeper level. So I do encourage you to go in that book and go through those chapters, the sections that we may have had some challenges with, didn't quite understand. Read those articles. I did that as well.
Does that
Yeah.
book have questions in it too?
No, it don't. It don't have the questions, but it has a lot of examples. You will love it. And if you're in simulation and going to stay in simulation in leadership or going to develop a program, this book will be helpful for you even moving forward. So it is a nice guide. I have it listed on your resource list. So please, this one right here helped me out a lot. Because the book that we've used these last 6 weeks is it kind of just kind of give you that nice little overview. It has some depth to it, and then we go straight to the quizzes. As you can see, the rationales themselves, they're not always as robust as you would like, but this book here will bring it home for you. Okay, defining excellence in simulation programs, Maxworthy, Epps, Okuda, Mancina, and Palaganas. Okay.
And what
And we-
percent do we need on the exam, on it
On your
to
test sheet,
pass it?
I got my little cheat sheet here. Since you had asking me all the hard questions tonight, Kim. Oh my gosh. Let me pull my sheet here. It is 115 questions. 15 of them are just pilot questions. You do need to answer the other 100 correctly. I will put all that in an email to you. How about that? Ooh. All right. On the top of my head. It's been a long day.
Did we talk about the site being down too?
I'm sorry.
The site being down? The society simulation, the website is down?
Yes. Kim said she read somewhere where it was down for 2 weeks, and I
Yeah.
didn't know it was down because I was trying to access it tonight. Is it something that you would like to get that maybe I can send to you? Or you just wanted to go browse it a little bit?
Well, I wanted to go with what you had recommended
Mhm.
to do the case studies and extra practice questions, but
Okay.
I did get an email that it was down for 2 weeks.
I will, I have that too, but I'll put that in the summation email I sent tonight. I will send that out again and actually put the link to it, the name, and that way you'll be able to, go back on that. Once you get the copy of it, it will come to your email. You'll have a soft copy of it and you'll have access to it forever. And it's really good. I wasn't aware that the site was down. But I could keep checking as well. Well, I tell you, I am big on family, and I must say, I have really enjoyed meeting each one of you over these last 6 weeks. And every Tuesday, around about Monday evening, I'll start getting excited because I knew I was going to get to see y'all on Tuesday. And even when I had a long day, it was just something refreshing to come spend this time with you. So I hope that these last 6 weeks have not been in vain for you. Adam put some nice, thank you, Adam, in the chat box. And I really hope, and I do believe, and I have faith in you that you will be successful. I do challenge you not to wait. It does 2 hours a day, and I must say, when I had my test date, I did that, and I actually had to dedicate time. It's very hard sometimes when you're busy, but taking that time at least to go through your quizzes, like if you can get it on your phone when you're at the mall, when you're at the doctor's office, or you're just somewhere having downtime, doing those quizzes, and not just taking them for the answers, but be able to tell yourself the rationale. Okay. And at least 2 hours a day leading up to when you do your exam. Once you register and you send your application in, they will send you an approval once they look over your information to confirm that you have 2 years worth of experience in simulation education. Once they say that you can sit for that exam, you have 90 days to sit. Okay. And so if you're wanting to go and apply like soon, I usually recommend once someone takes the class, don't wait too long. It's almost like we prepare our students to go take the nursing board. You don't want them to go 2 months out, right? So don't wait too long. Okay. The areas, don't forget to do your test plan blueprint. I did receive a few blueprints and I was able to go over them with a few people. So it's very important you go over that blueprint because not only going through this class, you could recognize some gaps that you may have, but that blueprint is going to really give you a structure. I took that blueprint and I actually filled in everything, write my little paragraphs out to make sure I can teach that content back to someone else or I understood it. With your theories, again, don't try to memorize the theorist's name, but memorize the principles of the theory and how it overlays whenever you're seeing it in simulation or you're building your sims or operating as the simulation education. How are you evaluating your learners? What type of modalities you're going to choose for your learners and make sure you're leveling your learners. So make sure when you think about theories, that sheet should be very helpful to give you some simulation examples for that. Okay. Are there any other questions? It's a little bit over our time. So if you want to email me your questions, I don't want to take advantage of your time anymore. But I do appreciate you and I appreciate your feedback. We can only continue to get better. So your feedback is very valuable to me and I do appreciate that. So I hope everybody will do well. Erica, get better, you and your family. Kim, I will continue to keep all of you in my thoughts. Each day I will keep you in my thoughts. I just want to tell you that, okay? And I will be checking in on you via email. Okay, and if you have a question, please don't hesitate to email me, okay?
I have horrible test anxiety, so just reading the 700 points, 70% just about put me into panic attack already. So, okay.
Yeah, you don't, hey, I want you to email me when you're getting ready because I need to talk to you that whole week leading up to it, okay? Because we're going to master that anxiety. And but that is a big thing because it will rob you of all what you do know. And all
Well,
of you
and
in this,
I have it so bad that I don't sleep the night before I'm giving an exam to my students. And
mm,
that's how I'm really bad.
mhm,
And I'm like, they're taking my test, and the students are like, "You're nervous for us taking your test." I said, "Well, I know it's a
mhm,
good test, but it's just I'm nervous. That's just me."
mhm.
So, yeah.
And don't read into the questions. Don't add anything that's not there, right? Don't do that. And don't, if you don't have it at your center, don't use that either. Look at best practices. What does this look in an ideal best practice situation? Go back through those ANASCO standards. Read your articles, okay? I believe you're going to be okay. You're going to do well. Okay? And I'm here. All right? I hope everybody have a wonderful evening. I hope all the best for each one of you. And I know you're going to be able to do it. So I'll just be looking for that email. And with that CHSE behind your name, Chessie, I believe that. Okay. Oh, Adam, we got you. So, oh, y'all see what Adam put in there? We're going to be thinking about him and rooting for him. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Erica. You are so welcome.
Thank you. Have
Feel
a good
All
night.
better.
right. Good
Yeah.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all email me your scores, okay? And let me know how you're doing now. Don't kick me to the curb like the students would say. Please remember me, okay?
Oh, will do.
Miss Isaac,
Yes.
everybody's good. Isaac, I wanted to just ask you a couple of more questions just to make sure you were clear on everything that you had. If you got a few more minutes, are you good?
Yes.
I
I
just
have
didn't
put
want
it
to
in the
make you
group
feel like
chat.
I didn't want to make you feel like I was dismissing you, okay? So I wanted,
Oh no, I figured that you wanted like quiet so everybody could be able to take their 25 questions. I had wrote it way later, like when you said we're coming back. But
uh-huh.
when I took the CME, even though I passed it, it was 3 hours, and I had like